Hi everyone, welcome to Tom's Trains and Things. This is the new series, Model Railroading for Beginners. But this is not only for beginners, this is for all levels of expertise. But for the beginners, it's a learning experience. But for the experienced modeler, maybe you'll learn something that you haven't thought of before. So let's get started with this, and I'm really excited about showing you what we're going to do. Now, this is the first episode of Model Railroading for Beginners, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the first two categories that I mentioned previously, and all five categories is right there, but what I want to do is cover the first two on this video, and then I'm going to do the next three on the second video, and then after that we're going to go into the how-tos. But in this one, it's we're not interested, or we're interested but we don't have any idea what we want to do with it. So that's what we're going to do here. You know, we take it for granted whenever we look at our watch that, we assume that, it's always been that way, but it hasn't been that way all the time. We used to rely on solar time. We would set our watches by looking up at the sun and seeing when it was directly overhead and saying that that was noon. Say, like, if it was noon in Chicago, in Pittsburgh it was 12:31, in Cleveland it was 12:24, Louisville was 12:09, St. Louis 11:48. In the railroad stations in Buffalo there was 3 different clocks. In Pittsburgh there was 6 different times depending on the railroads. It wasn't until William Frederick Allen, who was a member of the staff for official guide of the railways and steam navigation lines, that that was changed, and that was changed at November 18th, 1883, and that was to standardize the time all across the country. And actually, Congress didn't act on it until 1918. And that's when it became standard for the whole country. But before that, it was just for the railroads. So that's just a little bit of history of our railroads, and something to think about whenever you look at your watch. I got all this information from a book called American Heritage, History of Railroads in America. It's written by Oliver Jensen. That information is for all of you in the first category, not interested. Just think about it. Every time you look at your watch, or up on the wall, look at the clock, or look at your cell phone to see what time it is, you could thank the railroads. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm not an expert at everything, and I'm not an expert at anything, really. I just have, I just have certain things that I know how to do, and I do them well. And there's a lot of other modelers out there that do the same thing. They have their little thing that they know how to do well, and that's what they do. And I hope other modelers would like to share and add to this series, so we could have a thing going with teaching the beginners. And it really doesn't matter how we do things. I mean, whatever fits, whatever you know how to do, whatever you learn, don't worry about getting it right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. The way you do it is the right way to do it, no matter how you do it. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to stress that in all the videos that I do, that you are the one that's doing it, and no matter what you do, that's the right way to do it. Okay, that it's your hobby. Everybody else has their point of view, and there's thousands of different people out there that do thousands of different approaches to everything. But the one that fits best for you is the one that you should concentrate on, because that's your creation. And so here we go. We're going to go with that, and let's continue with this right now. All right, now that we got number one out of the way, the disbelievers, we're going to, just for this episode right here, we're going to assume that you have nothing, acquired nothing, and you just have your idea that you want to get into model railroading. Okay, so there's a lot of different things that we could cover here. Do you want to do diesel? Do you want to do steam? Do you want to do diesel now or go back all the way to the transition era? Or steam, just the opposite way from the transition all the way down to the beginning? Do you want to do, say, logging or mining or manufacturing? Or do you want to do a combination of different industries? You know, it's all up to you. What geographic area do you want to cover? Do you want prototypical or do you want fictional? My model railroad is fictional. I started with an idea a long time ago and I expanded on that. I took notes and I wrote down those notes and I worked that into, what I have now. I started out small, and I suggest that, you do the same thing. Just start out small. Don't try to build your dream layout, at the very beginning. Work your way up to that, okay? And, we could, build on that. Build your skills and do a lot of research. The research is the main part of it. You have the opportunity to recreate a piece of history if you want to do prototypical. Or if you want to do fictional, you could create your own history. Mine goes from Connellsville south, okay, and my one town right here is Rockwood. That's a actual town south of Connellsville. But from there, it's all fictitious. I have over on this side here, Leakin Creek. Well, it started out with an idea that I wanted to have a creek on my layout. And I got that idea from watching Andy Griffith's show, with Opie with the fishing rod and reel and walking down the path going fishing on it to the creek. And I imagined, a railroad track right next to it. So when I was building my creek, I was using the pellets that you warm up and then you pour down into the thing to make the water, and it ran over, so I called it Leakin Creek. And my other end of it I called Big Rock. Well, Pennsylvania has a slippery rock, so I didn't want to do slippery rock, and then Arkansas has a little rock, so I figured, well, hey, Big Rock, that's a good idea. So mine's Leakin Creek and Big Rock Railroad. So use your imagination in what you want to do and do a lot of research. I'll take you down and show you my library of all the books that I have. And I got them at Barnes & Noble. I mean, at the bargain, at the bargain table, you get them for like $10 or so. They sell them for $30 and $40, but then at the bargain table, you can get them real cheap. Or you can go online. You could go and watch other people's videos on YouTube. You could go on to magazines. There's a lot of different magazines for different models. You got Model Railroader, you got Railroad Model Craftsman's, you got the narrow gauge, and everything else. And that's another point that you could do. What scale are you going to go? Are you going to do something really small in N scale, or are you going to go all the way up to G scale? Or F or G scale. I mean, you could do N scale, you could do HO, you could do S, you could do O. And then there's the narrow gauges in that too. So there's all kind of different possibilities, and that's what we got to think about. You look and do the research first, and then figure out what you want to do with that research. And take notes along the way. And just remember that this is what you want to do, and just recreate what you see for yourself. Here's the book that I referenced in my earlier story. Okay, you could go inside any one of these books and read and learn about the railroads, and then get your ideas from that. And I'm going to take a walk down to my library, which is a bookcase. These are some of the books that I've picked up in about the last 20 years. Some of them are old, some of them are new. I picked up a few at train shows. South Florida Railroad Museum was selling them off for $1 a piece. Here's one of them right here. And as you could tell, I like a lot of steam. A lot of my books are about steam. And you can get them anywhere. You know, at Barnes and Nobles, like I said, they're pretty cheap, and you don't have to get a lot of them. You know, just get something that's interesting. You know, something that you feel like you're gonna like. This is a real old one that I picked up. That one came from the New Orleans Library. It's up to you, you know, what you want to get. You know, there's a lot of books out there. There's a lot of magazines out there. Most of these books have a lot of pictures in them, so you can get some ideas of the locomotives that you want to use, and the buildings you want to build, and you know, the areas. There's all kind of information in there. And if you like old railroad songs, I picked up a book that has old railroad songs in it. Has the sheet music in it. So, and this one right here, this is a paperback. But I also have the hard copy of it. You could see it right behind there, and this was under $10. It doesn't take a lot of money to do the research. I mean, you can go online now and then look up everything that you want to. There's a lot of modelers out there doing how-to videos just like I'm doing it. So, you know, you got a wealth of information on the internet. So that's probably the best way to do it. But if you like to look at books, or you like to look at magazines, you know, you can go out to the train shows and get them pretty cheap. You could even get digital subscriptions to the magazines now, and Model Railroader has an archive that goes all the way back to the very beginning. I think I'm paying maybe $2.70 a month for it, and yeah, every magazine that they ever had is on there. You could even purchase their how-to books. Kalmbach Publications has thousands of them, covering every subject. Some of the authors are still active on Facebook and on YouTube, so check them out whenever you get a chance to. That wraps up this first episode for beginners. I hope you learned something along the way. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I'll be putting this playlist out every 2 weeks. And don't forget to watch my other videos. I'll have some videos posted for in our travels in that playlist there, places that we went to see. I'll be updating all my playlists and all my videos on a regular basis. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that, so you know you can be notified whenever I have a new video out. I encourage all the modelers out there to write some comments down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you want to see. If you have any other views, put it down in there. If you would like to contribute, I have a couple of other modelers that I'll be doing collaborations with in the near future. So if you would like to also do a collaboration and share your knowledge with the beginners, then do so. Let me know, and we'll fit you in there, and we'll work something out with it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.